Okay. This is a PC build for under $650 with Windows 8. So really, if you're just going off of just parts, it is under 650, probably under 625 without the mouse. Yeah, under 625 without the mouse. Um, to get an idea of a price range, because when I was thinking about getting into PC gaming coming from consoles, I had a price range of like $600, and I wanted to build it myself because building it yourself is definitely better than buying a pre-owned. Um, and I couldn't find one. Every time I found one, like, oh, this looks cool, I can play all these games, and then I saw that it didn't have Windows 8, and I'm like, that's an extra $100. So I was made sure to include Windows 8. If you already have a copy of Windows lying around that you can use, you just add an extra $100 onto your graphics card. So you could get a R9 270. That's a good one, or a GTX 760 or 780, or not 780, 750 Ti would be another good one. Those are the three I would recommend if you're gonna do that. But getting into it, I'm gonna start off with the case. This went with something simple that's gonna work and last you a long time. The NZXT Source 220 mid-tower chassis has three 120mm fans and their LED. It has a window and it has USB 3 on the front. That's really all you need. And it has quick release. Different cases aren't going to change your in-game performance or acoustics too much unless you're going to spend a whole ton of money. So that's the case I would say to go with. Next is the Seagate Barracuda for the hard drive. I go with the 1 TB. I'm going to give you guys a few options, but this is what I'd recommend: is the Seagate Barracuda because it's $60. The Western Digital equivalent is the Western Digital Caviar Blue. The Blue isn't as good as the Barracuda, and it's the same price or around the same price. Go with the Barracuda. But if you can fork out a little extra cash, go with the Western Digital Caviar Black because the Caviar Black is really good. Go 1 TB, but go with the Barracuda if you can afford it. Go with the Western Digital Black. Next, I'm going to go down to the processor. I went with the AMD 760K because you're going to get the same performance as an i3. In game, you're going to get the same performance as an i5. And look at the price, $90. I know people with this. I've built gaming PCs with this in the past with a lot higher end graphics cards. Amazing. Like there was a benchmarking of a system, and it had the only thing they changed about it, and it had 780 Ti, and the only thing they changed about the whole system was the processor from an i7 down to they had an array of processors, like a ton of them, but they had at the high end an i7, and at the bottom end, towards the bottom end, they had like this. And the difference in frame rate, the only thing they changed was the processor. The settings in game was the same in everything. All that changed was 6 to 8 frames per second, and yet you're spending 5-6 times the amount of this for that many frames. That's not worth it. Don't do it. This is a great processor. Now that we have the processor, I'm going to go with the motherboard. I'm going with really reliable brands here, by the way. Asus. I'm with this. That's too long. I'm never gonna try to pronounce it. You search that, this will come up. It has USB 3. It has. That's all you really need is USB 3. But the memory has up to 1866 memory, which is really good. We're only gonna go 1600, which is the sweet spot right now for gaming. It's FM2. Just scrolling through here if you guys want to pause and look at it. It has 2 USB 3, 2 USB 2, audio ports. Overall this would be great. It's mini ATX too, by the way. So that's what I would suggest for that. That's not going to change your in-game performance at all. It's reliable. It's going to last you a long time. It's what you need. Next, I'm just going to go with the RAM. I went with a single 8 GB stick. Just go on Newegg and search for the single 8 GB sticks, which is over here, and you go into memory and it'll be over there again. I'm not going to go over there. And you find the cheapest that you can 8 GB module. So that's what I'm going to do for the memory. It's actually really good memory. better than what I have. And for the power supply, we're gonna go with the Corsair CTX CX, I mean 430. Corsair's a really reliable brand. It's bronze certified, which basically means it's gonna pull less power out of your wall, which means you're gonna save money that way in your power bill. You don't need anything over this. This is perfect for what we need. You can even upgrade and still use this. It's really reliable. It's low noise. It's just all around good, and it's fairly cheap. Graphics card. I went with the 750 to save a few dollars instead of getting the 750 Ti, but I went with the 2 gig. Gigabyte is a really good, reliable brand too. The reason I went with the 2 gig is games are only going to start using more, and it's just a better idea to get a 2 gig. Here are all the specs if you want to see. I know this will run games really well. You'll be able to play all games at 1080p. Over 60 FPS. I can't say ultra settings at 60 FPS, but from an in-game perspective, the difference between ultra and then like normal or high is not as big of what you would think. The real difference comes when you switch from 720p to 1080p, and that's also what really costs frames the most. This would be able to run anything you want at 1080p. It's really good. That's a really good price. It's even on sale. Yeah, 2 gigs, get the 2 gig version. You can look for 750 Ti's if you want to spend a little extra money, but still get the 2 gig. The mouse. Okay. I didn't include a keyboard in this because keyboards you can find wherever you want. I mean, keyboards don't matter as much, as the mouse. I went with the Perix is a really good brand. I use this mouse, personally recommended. I have a friend that I got this mouse for, and he loves it. This mouse is going to be as good as the Razer DeathAdder, whatever that is. It has a very short distance to click. It has a braided cable and gold-plated USB. It has 8 programmable buttons. It has weight tuning, which means it has weight cartridge. So if you want to have a heavy mouse, you can do that, or a light. I would suggest light because you can move it around quicker. It has decent DPI, you're really not going to go over that anyways. A good laser sensor. And know those little rubber things on the bottom of your mouse that can sometimes fall off after a while? This comes with extra, which is nice. The distance to click is really short, which means you can shoot fast. It's as short or shorter than the DeathAdder. And yet, look at the price. $26. Like, people spend too much on mice. Or, yeah, mouses. And it's not worth it. Yeah, you can even get it in a different color. I didn't notice that before. I like the black better personally, but hey, you want the red, go with the red. It's actually a German company. For some reason it says first from Asia, but it's a German company, and you know the Germans make good things. I'm gonna look over this, make sure I haven't missed a thing. I will probably link these in the description of the video, maybe not. If you want more tech videos, YouTube videos in general, mostly gaming, yeah, just like and subscribe.